This isn't about animals sensing your tone of voice. This is about animals tracking your honesty over time, the same way you track a friend who always shows up late, or a coworker who never quite tells you the full story. Somewhere out there, in a forest, a backyard, a savanna, an animal may already have a file on you, and it may already know you lie. In 2015, a group of scientists ran an experiment that quietly unsettled the animal behavior world. They had two strangers point toward a hidden treat. One stranger pointed honestly. The other pointed at an empty container, on purpose, again and again. Within minutes, the dogs stopped trusting the second stranger completely. They didn't just ignore a bad tip. They remembered who gave it. You've probably felt it too. A dog that won't look you in the eye after you've broken a promise. A crow that seems to watch you a little too closely. But what you are about to discover is far stranger and far more personal than a pet reading your mood. Let's talk about what knowing even means here. Deception detection isn't magic. It isn't a sixth sense. It's a cognitive skill, the ability to notice a mismatch between what someone signals and what actually happens, and then to adjust your behavior based on that mismatch. Humans do this constantly, often without thinking. The surprising part is how many animals do it too. Take the dogs from that pointing study, led by researcher Julianne Kaminsky. Dogs rely heavily on human pointing gestures to find food, far more than wolves or chimpanzees do. It's one of the traits that makes dogs so uniquely tuned to us. So when a dog stops trusting a specific person's point, that's not confusion. That's a small act of social bookkeeping. The dog isn't just reacting to a wrong answer. It's updating its opinion of a specific individual and carrying that opinion forward. Now widen the lens. What if the ability to catch a liar isn't rare? What if it's older than humans themselves? Corvids, crows, ravens, magpies, and their relatives may be the sharpest example in the animal kingdom. Researcher Nicola Clayton spent years studying western scrub jays and their caching behavior. These birds hide food to eat later, but here's the twist. If a jay knows it's being watched by another jay while hiding its stash, it will often wait until that observer looks away, then quietly move the food to a new hiding spot. Sometimes it will even fake a cache, digging a hole and pretending to bury something, just to mislead a rival. Pause on that for a second. That bird isn't just reacting to being watched. It understands that another mind is forming a false belief, and it is deliberately shaping that false belief. That is the exact mental move behind human lying, which means the same bird capable of running that trick on another jay is more than capable of noticing when you try to run it on them. But that's not even the strangest part of this story, because deception detection isn't only about catching a lie in the moment. It's about pattern memory, and pattern memory is where things get personal. Studies on ravens and crows have shown they can recognize individual human faces for years, not days, years, and they respond differently to people who have wronged them in the past, even when that person changes clothes or approaches from a different direction. A crow that watched you throw a rock once may pass that memory down to its offspring, or warn other crows in the area with a specific alarm call reserved just for you. Somewhere, a bird may be teaching its chicks what your face means. If you've made it this far, you're clearly someone who notices the small, invisible relationships between people and the wild world around them. That's exactly who this channel is for. So if that sounds like you, hitting subscribe helps more of this find its way to you. Let's go back to dogs for a moment, because their case reveals something even more intimate. Dogs don't just track dishonesty from strangers. Some research suggests they're more sensitive to inconsistency from their own humans, the people they're emotionally attached to. A stranger's lie is data. Your lie is a small betrayal layered on top of a relationship the dog has invested in every single day. That's why a dog who has been repeatedly told just one more minute before a walk that never comes may eventually stop getting excited at the leash, not because it forgot what a leash means, because it has quietly, statistically, learned what your promises are worth. Here's the part that reframes everything. We tend to imagine trust as something soft, something emotional, something almost human. But across species, trust behaves like a running calculation. Every interaction is a data point. Every broken signal shifts the odds slightly. An animal doesn't need language to run that calculation. It just needs memory, attention, and enough repeated encounters with you to notice the pattern. And this is where it gets harder to look away. Elephants have been documented recognizing human ethnic groups associated with past threats, reacting with more caution toward the scent or clothing linked to those groups, even decades later. Not because elephants understand culture, because elephants understand consequence. Somewhere in an elephant's long memory, a category exists that essentially means humans who are dangerous to trust, built entirely from lived experience with specific people, generalized outward. So here's the counterintuitive twist most people miss. We like to think animals are simple creatures reacting to simple stimuli, while humans are the only species running complicated social math. But detecting deception, tracking who is reliable, adjusting trust after being misled, these are some of the oldest survival tools evolution has ever produced. Long before humans built language, animals were already deciding who to believe and who to avoid. Lying didn't start with us. We just got very good at doing it with words instead of gestures. Which raises an uncomfortable mirror. If a jay can fake a cache to fool a rival, and a dog can downgrade its trust in a specific person after one bad pointing gesture, and a crow can hold a grudge for years and teach it to its young, then the animals around you aren't just reacting to your actions. They're building a profile of your character, quietly, continuously, without ever needing you to say a single word about who you are. Think about your own life for a moment. Think about the people you trust instantly, and the people you quietly, almost unconsciously, keep a little more guarded around. You probably couldn't fully explain why, not in a clean sentence. It's not one incident, it's a pattern your mind assembled without asking your permission. That is precisely what a dog does at the door when it hears you pick up your keys. That is precisely what a crow does when it sees your face turn the corner. You are not just being watched, you are being remembered. So the next time an animal seems to hesitate around you, seems to watch a little too long before deciding to approach, consider that you might not be looking at instinct. You might be looking at judgment, earned honestly, one interaction at a time. And maybe that's the real discovery hiding inside this whole question. We spend so much energy wondering whether animals can think like us. Maybe the better question is whether we've been living, all along, inside their evaluation, the same quiet way they live inside ours. A dog once refused to trust a stranger after a single false point. Now you know it wasn't confusion, it was a verdict. If you've ever noticed an animal seem to size you up before deciding to trust you, tell that story in the comments. And if this changed how you see the animals around you, a like helps this reach someone who needs to see it too. Thank you for watching.